About 10 months ago, Temple was hit by a tornado. And it is not my intention to make light of this. People were hurt. And especially those businesses and homes on West Adams got hit very hard. But I do remember it distinctly because I was outside my house with another friend waiting. We had a little meeting that night. And we watched the sky turn black and green. I'd never seen that before. But even though the tornado was a good mile away, it hit here pretty hard, but the tornado itself was a good mile away, so I didn't see it per se. But one of the things I remember most profoundly, besides the black and green sky, was there was a growl. There was a scary. And what was that growl? It was energy. It was energy. Energy that was, most people think was a bad thing and would cause damage, but I would dare say much good came from that growl, that tornado. Because when it was over, I saw many people walking out on the streets, going up to neighbors I hadn't talked to in years, asking things like, "Are you guys okay? Are you guys okay?" And after that awful growl, I remember walking over here, there was tree limbs, and even the Exxon canopy fell over on someone's car. And to see people rush over there, help them out, people rushing over there from the streets, pulling out trees so cars could go by, as we kind of tried to get better. But when it comes to that, if you're doing today right, then your stomach should be going right now. If you're doing today right. Because that growl is energy telling your body, your brain, "Hey, feed me. Hey, what are you doing? Thought we had a deal." But again, the doctors would say, well, that's your body telling you, "Hey, feed me." It's telling you that you're hungry. But we would say that good comes from that. Good's from telling your body, "No, we don't have to scratch this itch. We don't have to act on every impulse." That as Christians, we don't just do what our body tells us. We tell our body what to do. Because Jesus himself said that fasting and prayer drives out demons. That prayer and fasting has the power to push back on a culture of death. That fasting and prayer changes us. That makes us grow in self-mastery. That makes us stronger, makes us more holy, makes us more Christian. That to discipline our bodies is how we defeat the evil one, because he hates your bodies, because he doesn't have one. And we love with our bodies. We sacrifice with our bodies. And just because there might be some situations where we are afraid doesn't mean we have to run. Just because we're surrounded by the enemy doesn't mean we don't fight. The Lord himself showed us when he went against the Romans and the Jews with his very body and took it all and didn't back down. Good came from that. And even as he was carrying that cross, we'll remember on Palm Sunday and Good Friday, there was lots of grumbling and rumbling and calling him names. And from that energy, he saved us. He saved us. And this is what we do at Lent. As we prepare to ascend that mountain to Easter, we practice sacrifice, fasting, prayer, and almsgiving. Why do we do that? To build up energy. There should be a rumble. There should be a growl. You know, opposing armies back in the day, they would hear the rumbling of the horses and the soldiers, and it struck fear in them. because there was a growl in the ground. Hopefully, the secular world, the culture of death, will recognize there is a growl as we take account of our own bodies and build up virtues that come from good habits. Because there's two kinds of habits, virtue and vice. Discipline and license. Vice is what tells us in habits that the evil one tells you, hey, if whatever itch you got, scratch it. Whatever you feel like doing, do it. Indulge. Eat, drink, and be merry. And when you do that, the evil one laughs because he knows he's got you hooked. But he promises immediate gratification, like they did with the apple when they found out it didn't satisfy. But today also we deny ourselves, deny our bodies, and take an account of our souls in our bodies to see what are the earthly things have we glammed onto that we say we can't live without. You know, if you've ever been to one of our teen retreats, I love them. But it's that first moment when they come on retreat and we say, hand over your phones. And then they start to go into convulsions. Well, that means there's some kind of unhealthy attachment there. Unhealthy attachment. But for these next 6 weeks, including Palm Sunday, we will talk about habits that build discipline. Because you cannot be happy without discipline. You cannot be free without discipline. And the church invites us to this, that we can enjoy and celebrate Easter that much more. The more you fast, the more you enjoy the celebration meal. So I just give you a preview. If you could throw up that slide for me, Billy. For the next 6 weeks, we'll talk about habits. Billy, thank you. This coming weekend, the first Sunday of Lent, we'll talk about disciplining yourself for having a holy hour. That's right, a whole hour. Maybe not every day, but finding an hour during the week that you just give to silence, contemplation in the Lord, whether it's here in adoration or St. Mary's or in your own home. Because silence is the great power washer of the soul. But to remember that Jesus said to his apostles, couldn't you just stay with me, wake with me 1 hour? Just 1 hour. Now we get to answer that and discipline our bodies. That there will be accountability. Oh, sure, we tell you, don't tell everybody as you're here, when you're fasting, anoint your head and wash your face. But you can tell I haven't done that yet today. Then I've been at this all day. But you don't have to tell everybody what you're doing for Lent, but you can tell a few people. You can tell a few people and have them hold you accountable. How's it going? How's your Lenten devotions going? And to remember, as Catholics, we are Bible Christians. The Bible is ours. And if you haven't plumbed the depths, and there's so much technology out there, that you should become Bible Christians and know what the scriptures say about our faith. Because if you're not, you leave yourself vulnerable. And where are we investing our time, talent, and treasure? We'll spend a whole weekend on that. Because that's how you test, what are you giving your time, talent, and treasure to? Even to the point of being discomforted. Because sacrifice means discomfort. And who are you telling about what the Lord has done in your life? Who are you telling? Anybody? Because our faith is not meant to be kept to ourselves, it's meant to share. All leading to the most important thing that we do in this church and any Catholic church, and that is the sacraments. And the Eucharist and penance, because those are things who wash us, renew us, feed us, and send us out. And so that you can become that tornado, that energy that does what? That turns us into conversion and mission. That's what we're meant for. But we have to take an account of our own souls, admitting that we are human, admitting that we are mortal. Because in a few minutes, a total stranger, you're going to walk up to a total stranger and they're going to say to each one of you, remember that you are dust and to dust you shall return. Can you imagine that, walking up in the mall and some friend goes, hey, you're going to die. To dust you shall return. That's considered rude. It's no less true. To live with that day in mind and to remind ourselves that we will see the Lord, and to live with that day in mind, and that means to have no regrets. To have no regrets, because we don't get a second chance. We get one life, and as the Catechism says, God's mercy ends with our death. We only have certain time on this earth, and that we are dust, and to dust we shall return. And to look up at that cross and remember that when he died, the ground didn't shake. There was a rumble, a growl that scared even the soldiers. But even in a small way, as we go through today, and hopefully more during the season of Lent, that fasting, even in your own stomach, that you can go a while without eating. I think we should remind ourselves of that. I have been a priest now for almost 19 years. I have anointed hundreds of people on their deathbed. Never, not once, did I anoint someone who died of starvation. Usually, it's the other way around because they ate too much. But we are a culture that indulges. But now we have a chance to tell our bodies, you don't tell me what to do. I tell you what to do. I discipline and you discipline your bodies. And hopefully today, around 8 or 9 or 10 o'clock, when you're at home, you can give praise to God and sing praise to God as your stomach is going.